So I won 2 gold medals and then was the first woman to play running back in men's pro football. So
that's fucking wild. Like when you
wild.
think
Yeah, it's wild.
Well, thank you for coming.
Any invitation to be notorious, I'm probably going to be there.
I was looking forward to this speech for so long. And, I'll tell the audience, I had a girlfriend of mine just basically message me your LinkedIn. She was like, you should get this person. And I was like, all right, let me see. And I don't necessarily watch football. So I was kind of like, I don't get it. And then I went over and I was like, oh, first female, coach in the NFL. And I was like, gosh, we're definitely a, male-ish dominated industry. And I was like, oh, there's nobody better. You're like the only female, just breaking barriers and doing all the things. And you knocked it out of the park today. So I'm so grateful that, everything lined up beautifully.
It was. And I love the energy that you really create here for these women. As I said, the field might be different, but the game is the same.
Mm-hmm.
So many of the moments that we have, whether it be struggle or triumph or doubt or needing to find ourselves, find the bigger purpose. I heard that reflected in a lot of the ladies when I watched their sessions. And so it was oh yeah, it's totally a tribe.
Yeah. So before we continue, why don't you share a little bit about your background with people? Because there could be people watching here that are like, I don't know who Jen Welter is. So share with people who you are and all your accomplishments.
Well, I'm certainly sure there are, right? I have people ask me all the time, are you an influencer? And I'm like, no, I think I've just really done influential things.
Yeah.
And sometimes those are the same and sometimes they're very different. But my background, I came from women's football. And so a lot of people are still unaware that women are even capable of playing football, much less that we do play football. So I played women's pro. And like I say, we call it pro because we couldn't afford the professional football for 15 years, predominantly with the Dallas Diamonds. That team I was with for 10 years. And, we were the baddest bees on the block. We won 4 championships in 5 years. And that was one of the most magical times of my life because it was truly a family and it was a team that was very much player-led. It wasn't like coaches told us what to do. We set a standard of what excellence looked like. So I played with them for some of the best years of my life and then got to play on the first and second women's U.S. national team. So I won 2 gold medals. And then was the first woman to play running back in men's pro football. So
that's fucking wild. When you think,
yeah, it's wild.
Has there been other women to play? This sounds probably like a dumb question.
It's not a dumb question.
Are there other women that have played professionally in the NFL?
So none in the NFL. So I didn't play in the NFL. But if you've watched the Kurt Warner movie, how he played in indoor football for the Iowa Barnstormers. So I played in the same league as Kurt Warner and arguably made it look better, clearly. Yeah, I'm sure. But so I played a year with them. There have been a few other women who kicked. But I'm not a kicker. If I'm kicking, it's an unintentional onside and things are going to go really badly. So played there for a year, and then the following year was asked to coach that same team. And that started what has now been a 10-year coaching career for me, starting with the Texas Revolution, then the first woman to coach in the NFL for the Arizona Cardinals under Bruce Arians. I have also coached in the Alliance of American Football for the Atlanta Legends, in the XFL for the Vegas Vipers, and overseas in Australia and China. And, it's kind of it's just my love language, I guess. Sometimes it's the best part of the love language, and other times it's, the rough times, the romance.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we're glutton for punishment for the things that we love. And so you also have a doctorate in psychology, in sports psychology, right?
So my master's is technically in sports psychology, and then the doctorate is in psychology.
Okay.
But it all went through the lens of sport for me.
Right. So how do you use that when you're coaching players?
So first, for all of you listening, if you're not a sporty spice girl like me, I say sports psychology is really the lens of excellence for psychology. It just happens to be, when we're talking about it, we're looking at sports, but there's so many analogies between, sports and business, and that's where we can really be aligned. To me, there's a couple of areas that I really leaned into, one being athlete identity. So whether it's, how does an athlete view an injury versus maybe somebody else? So I say that lens that we look at. So do you remember the old school funhouse mirrors?
Yeah.
Right. We all may be dealing with this same thing, but like one of the mirrors will make you look like tiny and fat, and the next one looks tall and skinny. And that's through how we perceive the world. So sports psychology is one of those lenses where like an athlete who goes through a career-ending or threatening injury, they liken it psychologically to the death of a close family member.
Oh, okay.
That's how hard it hits us.
Yeah.
That same injury to somebody who maybe, is a weekend warrior or doesn't identify so fully with sports can often cause a disconnect in relationships because you're looking at the same situation through a very different lens. And so that's one of the things with sports psychology. And then a lot of it for me is, understanding the pathway to excellence, and expertise development, how that is. And so, and then coaching methodologies and feedback is something where I'm big. I think every business is a people business. And even though we commoditize players in terms of, they're weighed and measured and their stats and impact, they're still all very real people with very real lives. And so understanding that when performance varies from one day to the next, assuming there's no injury, it's not a physical thing, it's a mental thing. And so how can we really relate to and tap into helping people come back to present? So there's just a lot of really things. And then there's cool life hacks too.
Oh, well, tell me like all the life hacks, by the way.
I mean, that's why I'm like, there's some really cool life hacks.
Tell me those ones.
Right? Like I heard you say, and I'm the same way, like if you're one of us, because we both said this, and our minds get very, very loud. One, your mind can only truly hold one thought at a time. Okay. So in sports, we say we want to get into the zone, right? And that means not this next play, not the last play, not what the ref did, not the weather, not the people watching or the referee made a bad call, but how can you be truly present? And so you want to really focus on what do I need to do right now in this moment to be successful? Sounds easy, and yet it's a very hard thing. So our mind wanders. How do we bring it back to where we need it to be? Okay, first one. It's an easy one. Most of us do it intuitively. Music. You ever been in a really bad mood or a really bad mindset and you walk into a place and that song is playing, like one you can't get out of your head, and you just kind of like start dancing, and then you correct yourself. No, I'm in a bad mood. I'm not going to hit this right now. Well, that's part of the beauty is like the music can take you away. So being intentional with music is one way to control your mindset. Okay. Now here's another one. In sports, we do a lot of highlight reels. So now let's take that song. What's your song? What's your go-to?
Okay, so it depends what kind of mood I'm in. But if I'm like real bad mood or sad, I put on. You guys are gonna die.
It's okay.
So there's a handful of songs but my like go-to is this song by Krayshawn. It's called Gucci Gucci. Okay. And it's got this like. It's not a drum and bass beat, but it's got this like, it's the beat and what she says. And like, that is, I'm like, if anybody knows, like there's a thing, I'm like, oh, it was a Gucci Gucci day today. Cause like I needed to get my shit right. But that, or like, I don't know, I probably do like Lil Wayne, Milli Milli, or like, it's gotta be some like hard, like hip hop or
Words and a beat.
Yeah.
For me, I need words and a beat, right? Cause the words will like, kind of take the place of some of those thoughts.
What's your song?
Oh gosh, I still like Let's Go, like Lil Wayne, like way, but I also am an NF girly. But the Let's Go, if you want it, you can get it, let me know. That was on my warm-up tape for years with the Dallas Diamonds. anytime you play that song, I'm back there. And that's part of the time when I was one of the baddest baddies in the world. I can still picture what our warm-ups look like and highlight reels, because I would intentionally take that song knowing I was going to hear it in my warm-up, and I would put it with some of my highlights, so I could, now I'm here, you know, through sound. Now I'm here through image, right? Like tackling the biggest baddie out there, or whatever it was, whatever I needed to be in that headspace. So now I've seen it and heard it enough times that when I need to picture it, I can bring that image back to my mind.
Yep.
So that's one of the tricks I tell people to add, is like the more senses you can bring in. So if it's Gucci and you want to throw yourself up there with the images that put you in the mindset, do that. Then if you have a scent, right? If you have a scent that's like, put that same scent on, because the more you can fortify all of your senses, the more you can tap into all of those senses in that situation. So create a mood and be really intentional about it.
Yeah.
Like that is one of my life hacks. And that's why, like, I don't know that I've heard that song on the radio, like, or put it on a playlist in years, but that song comes on and I did such a good job training my brain to be ready for like a football game. You might watch me just like throw on my pads and my helmet, because it's still right there. Like those are Dallas Diamond days, is what we're going to do. Right. One of the other tricks you can do is add like a physical cue. And you see a lot of people do this, and sometimes we don't know why. You'll see like tennis players might smack their booty, right? Like, come on, let's go. Or people will have like a rubber band on and they pop it. That's to like interrupt negative thinking. So now you've got physical, now you've got a song, now you can add visual. All of those senses help you take control of where you want to be mentally. So that's a good life hack.
Yeah, my friend Heather, her mom, she used to run an orphanage and school in Zambia, but also had this program. And I had interviewed her one time years ago, and she had shared with me, she's like, listen, emotions are just energy in motion.
Yep.
And if you can, like, first understanding that we are not our emotion and being able to step back behind it. And for the wildest time, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, and it was like, you have those voices in your head. I'm like, what? And I was like, oh shit, those voices are
those voices, and they're so loud.
They're so loud that you
so
think
loud.
they're like you are the voice, right? And so to learn to disengage with that. And she said, you know, if you can sit there and not feed that voice, she's like, 90 seconds, grab a stopwatch, breathe through it, do not feed that voice. Eventually that energy will pass through the body, and that's your goal. It's like, don't engage, because the minute you engage, you're like, right back to the races. And it's the same thing as like, have you ever heard the story of the two wolves?
No.
Okay. So this is...
Wolf me out, girl.
Okay. I think I might have shared this before on a podcast, but there's this old American Indian fable where the grandfather is like sharing with his grandson this story of these two wolves. And he says, you know, in each and every one of you, you have two wolves. You know, one is, you know, the positive one, wants everything for you, is your biggest cheerleader, your biggest fan, is your highest and best use in the world. And the other one is your negative, all the negative self-talk, you know, and every day these wolves are going to battle every single day. And at the end of this, you know, fable, the little boy asks the grandfather, he says, yeah, well, like, grandfather, like, which wolf wins? You know, they're an epic battle every day. Which one wins? And he said, it's the one that you feed.
Right.
The one that you feed wins, you know? Right. And now, you know, doing this work for so much time, God, I remember I used to be able to like see the train come in. I'm like, you know, I can start to see the negative thought come in, and I'm like, here it comes. And I didn't even have the ability not to. I'm like, we just fucking jumping on the train. Like, we're jumping on. I see it coming. I know I don't want to jump on it.
Well, and one of the things, when you talked about the wolves, one of the things that makes me think of, and I teach this to people often when they say, oh, I get so nervous. Okay, first of all.
It's the wording. It's like wording.
Anxiety and excitement.
It's the same
physiologically
in the body.
are the same.
Yeah.
Like my palms get sweaty and my heart races, and you just have to label it. Like, and I just tell people, I'm like, when you feel that, I want you to know this comes from your fight or flight mechanism.
Yep.
And it's energy that's there to be channeled. Like if the one wolf was chasing you, you don't know if you got to hide yet or you got to run. Okay.
Yep.
That energy is there for you to channel it. So I just tell people, I'm like, say it's go time. When you feel that coming, just be like, it's go time, and give your body, again, a physiologically cue, like go time. And then you're like, oh, all right, I know what to do with this energy. Now I'm giving it a purpose.
Yeah.
And I've had so many people be like, you're right. I wasn't really nervous. I just had this energy. And now you've like been able to take it and put it into action.
It is along that energy talk, is that through this, working with plant medicine and working with shamans, I had learned that, we can do a lot of things around our brain, right? Yep. Around like the conscious brain. But a lot of times what's happening is like, you get an actual trigger and there's a physical manifestation in the body and then it goes to the head. And then in the head, we now have a story, yep. which then it's like this cyclical thing that now you're, creating the story in the body with the energy, and it's very hard to clear.
Yep.
And so I started working heavily with like energy workers, and like actually being able to like, I don't even know, like sometimes it's like we just store these things in our body. It's like, when you have a cop behind you, and they like, right. You're like, you're like, your whole body goes
like, I didn't
cold,
even do
right?
anything, but I still go,
Yeah, I'm not committing a crime. I'm going the speed limit.
Theoretically.
But, yeah, right? But in my body, it's like they're behind me. You're like,
right.
And it's like that gets stored in the body, and in like, animals don't have this thing where like if the rabbit's being chased, when the rabbit gets to a place where it's now safe, it will flop over and violently shake. So it violently shakes out the energy and it's wild, right? Because there's animals, they don't have this mind that, we then don't naturally do something because our mind takes over. And as, people, it's like we go through these traumatic things, maybe just the cop behind you, but sometimes there are other traumatic things, and they get stored in the body, and then something happens, and it's not even the mind yet. It's the body getting triggered and then going to the mind, and then you come up with this whole thing, and then you stay in this rut and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, we got some cool stuff happening next year to help you clear that energy in your body. So stay tuned for that. So now, you do this big career, with coaching and football and all that kind of stuff. Where are you going next? What's next for Jen?
I think that is the question. I think leading from the front, the hardest thing is there's never really a destination. So all of the biggest things I have ever done in my life, I could not see before I did them. And so I try and be really open and lean into the things and the people that feed me. I mean, I'm a quirky little artist daughter. I'm very creative. I'm super geeky. Like a lot of people don't expect that. They're like, football coach, like muscle it out. I'm like, no. PhD in psychology. My mom was an art teacher. So like I have a kids book series I've done. I really enjoy people and places to feel good. So I'm a creator at heart. And I think I haven't seen it yet necessarily. I thought I was potentially going to be moving out of the country to go coach football, and then it didn't work out. So I think for me, it's really putting it out there that like I'm available to do things that might be different. Like I would love to either build another team, but that's hard because it's off season. So, but I think analyst stuff, or building opportunities in flag football. It's growing so fast. And I've coached there quite a bit. So it's a stay tuned for me, really.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Because it's like everything's open, I don't know. I like in my life, and I am a big fan of the magic never happens in the business plan. I saw Jesse Eitzler speak one time, and that was like his big thing. He's like, we do all of these things and we create the business plans and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, the biggest moments in my career that shifted everything, it was never in the business plan.
Never.
It was always like right place, right time. But right place, right time happens because you're constantly putting yourself in the right place in the right time.
That's right. And being open to the things that connect for you, right? Like, everything I've done, other people are like, well, I don't see how that fits together. I'm like, I do.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it all clearly fits to me. I mean, I studied play and drawing therapy and the integration with sports psychology to be able to empower kids to think and feel differently. And then when COVID hit, I was stuck. The world was shut down. And I just literally said, oh, I can help. All of the parents were freaking out, and all I could think of was the trauma that the kids were going to pick up.
Yeah.
And then I wrote like 10 kids books, and I illustrated and put out in the world 4 of them already. And I go, it was the right thing with, again, a situation meets with a skill set and the ability to execute and not overthinking the trigger, right? I write a lot. Everybody wants you had Play Big for some of the people, which I really appreciate. Everybody wants the next book, so maybe it's the next book. I also got to stunt coordinate.
Okay.
Like a football, like sizzle. And it was so funny. I had to take my coaching hat off because as coaches, we're always thinking of every contingency. Like, will this play on offense work if the defense does X, Y, and Z? And then I was like, wait. The defense also has to do what I say.
Yeah.
Whatever play I draw up, it's going to work.
Yeah.
How refreshing is that? And then I told the girls, and most of them were actresses and not football players. And I was like, listen, here are the things that are guaranteed. 1, whatever play I draw up will work.
It will work.
2, I will never let you look bad at football unless your job is to look bad at football.
Yeah.
And 3, we can always cut and run it again. And they were like, oh. Yeah. And it was so refreshing to me because so many times in football, it's an all or nothing business. Yeah. And this was really a way for creativity to intersect with football.
That's an interesting, that's kind of like in mortgage too. It's like, we deal in numbers. It's not sexy. It's so fucking boring.
Oh, come on. You make it sexy. Come on. Look at her. She makes it sexy.
Yeah, and I like the part where it's like a puzzle piece. I enjoy that. And so that helps with some of the creativity, but then also, coming out here and then being able to do content, podcasts and YouTube and put on the show. It's like finding those outlets within the constraints of what we do. And even sometimes outside of them, just for fun, right? It's like we need
Imagine
to have...
that. Wait, fun?
For fun, I know.
Fun. I know, like when I was playing football, people didn't realize what an artist I was. And I got that from my mom, but when I was really stressed, I would go outside and paint. And so I'd be doing all this hard stuff, and I would get out, and it was very layered painting. So you could only really paint for 20 minutes at a time, but getting up, standing up, releasing that energy from sitting down, and then going and being able to just create some beauty and then go back to it. Kind of refreshes my spirit too.
Yeah, like mindless work. Yeah. All right, so we're a day and a half through.
Yes.
I'm so grateful you chose to stay and hang out and all of that, because you honestly could have just came and took your 45 minutes on stage and left, and it's been just so fun to get to know you and hang out with you. And
so fun.
Yeah, we're gonna do this again for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
we're new besties.
We're now friends. I know. You didn't know. Wait, hold on. What's that moment? Do we just become best friends?
Yeah. So tell me your experience of Notorious. What's been your biggest takeaway? What was maybe one of your favorite parts about the talks that you did or that you've watched?
I love the realness. I think a lot of the times when you go into conferences, sometimes people are there speaking a brand, not speaking a human, right? And I've seen it a lot of the times. They're well, the brand says this, and I'm like, but what do you say, right? And I understand that that's a balance, and in some situation that is clearly what you're there for. But I really got to see throughout the process how you created it's more than like a convention. It's not that, like, it's a gathering, I think.
An experience.
Right. Like it's very experience, like from having this space that's predominantly taken over. It's all these women, there's places where they can just sit and be themselves. And then, so many women coming up on stage and saying, well, I don't know why she asked me to be here. There's a reason, right? Like, and you can see the comfort, confidence, and connection grow between the women's while they were here. And I really heard, like, even though when you were talking about mortgage, I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about. But it wasn't just mortgage. It was more about how someone found their way to it and how this career gave them new energy, new life, a place and a space to, like, own their finances, change their family's dynamics, and, really got to see people shine in a lot of different ways. And I think, even for me, I mean, I think it's a gift anytime I get to do a keynote. And when I can, like, I like to spend time and I like to do a pre-call because I want to know what I can. But, like, just being around the ladies, like, I tried to take some of the things that they leaned into and use it to direct the points at which I shared different experiences of mine, so that it would be like we were, on a journey together.
Yep.
Not just like one-sided storytelling. I think.
Like, let me talk at you.
Yeah, I don't like talking at people. I don't like people to talk at me. Like, I want us to have a conversation.
100%.
And hopefully laugh.
Yeah, for sure. I know one of the things that is, like, really important to me in this industry and what we're creating here is that what you tend to see across events in mortgage is the same panel, right? Okay. It's the same entire. I mean, I'm sorry, man, I love you guys, but it's like old and white and stale, right? There's like zero diversity. And in doing this, it was like, well, there's also not a whole lot of women to choose from. Like, there's like 5, right? And so it was like, well, we obviously need to do something to create more women speakers. Yeah. And so with this, I'm real, like, mindful that, like, let's get some, like, tried and trues. Yep. But also there are women out there doing amazing things that need that first step, right? Yeah. And if you don't go out and create it, like, a lot of times you're waiting for somebody to do that, and we don't.
Right, like, I would like to do that. Yeah. Pick me. I'm in the corner.
Yeah, or like, we don't even think we have the confidence. You're like, why would people? And I'm like, girl, trust me, you have what it takes, because I have a whole thing, like, on events and, like, how most events aren't even serving the people in the audience, because it's like they're bringing mastermind type topics to, like, big events, and I'm like, that's not who you're serving. So it's like wanting to put on events that really serve the people in the room, that's going to have a tangible difference in your business, because if you go home and do nothing, this was a waste of time. And it was so interesting. One of our sponsors here, they had sponsored a panel. And I won't say what the sponsor it was. I mean, you might know if you know who sponsored the panel. But in talking with one of the gentlemen, I don't know what his C-suite level position is or VP level is. He was like, hey, so, should we come in and talk, like, what's going on in the market and, like, our products and all this stuff. And I was like, hey, listen, they're going to get that everywhere. Right. They'll get that at the other, conferences that they go to this season's conference season. They'll hear that everywhere. So, I mean, it's your panel. You paid for it. You could talk whatever you want. But this is also an opportunity for you to show up with something different, something more impactful. Because, to be honest with you, when I hear, let's talk about the market and interest rates and blah, 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 I'm like, glass over. Like, I'm not even paying attention. So you can take 30 minutes and have people not pay attention to what you're talking about. Or let's come up with a more meaningful conversation that is going to have an impact. Because I believe, like, even like with all of our sponsors, I'm like, listen, if you win a woman's heart, you get the opportunity to win her business. Right. But you don't win it until you win my heart. And so it's like, put up a conversation that's meaningful, that's actually going to help people, and then we'll soft sell them on your company, right? Then we'll give you the opportunity to share. But it's really about relationships and connection and actually making a difference, because to be honest with you, from one company to the next, you're all the same.
Right.
But what makes you different is the valuable relationship that we can build together. So I have a whole thing on that kind of stuff.
No, but I think you're spot on, right? Like, we don't, they always say, like, facts tell, stories sell, right? And it's that connection that'll make a choice, in one way or another. And, you've done that not only in curating content, but in curating conversation that happens outside of the big room.
Yeah.
Right? In doing things where, it's not just okay to be a little bit different than you would normally, but it's the expectation.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's, having a pajama party or like getting to choose and make flowers and your slippers, like those are introduction, like an actual opportunities to make choices that reflect your personality and then to, bond and conversate over it. Like, I think that's really special.
Yeah. Part of the reason, like almost every party thing that we do will have some sort of activity.
Yeah.
And really it's because I personally have social anxiety.
You
would never guess.
I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, wait.
I don't mind like one-on-one. I don't do small talk, because small talk to me, I'm just like, that's a waste of energy. My husband's different. Like if you sit next to him at the bar, I'm like, I'm so sorry. He's going to know everything about you in the first 5 minutes and you guys are going to be the best of friends. Where for me, I'm like, I'm never going to see you again. So I'm perfectly happy just sitting here next to you, right? But that's also why I do business online on Facebook, is because I don't like to network in person. I say my name and then you have said yours and I've already forgot it, and I'm worried about
I forget already.
Oh God, am I talking too fast? Am I talking too slow? Am I over disclosing? Am I under disclosed? I just can't get out of my head. And so for me, having an activity, I need something to do. So I'm like, all right, let's do flower bar, because if I can do flower bar, then this is my event. So at my event, it's way easier for me to talk to people.
Sure.
But if I go to an event where I don't know anybody, I'm like, oh God, I need an activity. And the worst is you go to an event and they're like, now you got to we're either going to play a game or they're like, let's talk to your neighbor. I'm like, no.
What about
where's the bathroom?
What about the speed networking bingo kind of thing? And I'm like, I'm never going to do this.
Oh,
right?
It's so
you want me to go
horrible.
and find who has a cat versus a dog? First of all, you're just making me go talk to somebody, which I'm super awkward about. And second, it's also stuff that's not adding value.
Yeah.
It's not natural. It's very forced.
Yes.
And I don't think I've never met anybody that came out of one of those scenarios and you were like, that was
amazing.
Thing I ever did.
Yeah. So I try to be real intentional about things that are that I love and being able to experience that. And that's one of the things why I love producing this event, because I get to heal my own heart and just do things that I love to do. Yep. And then also being able to share that with other women. So it's been a blessing. And I'm so also this is our first time we had a paid keynote. And so I feel I'm starting to make it in life.
You are making it. Look, I just loved your outreach and the whole thing. And it was fun. For me, it was refreshing right at a time when I'm not used to having this space and time to be able to actually lean in and enjoy, right? And a lot of the times that's not how it's offered either, right?
Yeah.
I think sometimes speakers get a little bit of the not great reputation on that, is it's not also offered always that somebody's hey, we're here all these days and we would love to have you for that whole time. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
Kind of sounds awesome. I don't know anything about mortgage, but
yeah, let me feed you.
Yeah.
Let me it's when you meet somebody new and you're or a neighbor and you're no, it's really weird. So and this is going to sound weird, I don't know if it's Scandinavia, Norway, somewhere over there, right? Sweden. Did you know that if you have children and they have friends over, it is really weird to feed them other people's children. It's
Why?
You don't do that. They will go sit in another room while you eat dinner. And I was like, that is so weird. And there's something culturally around it. And it might have been during like World War II, like ration-y type things and like that. And it has now stuck in their culture. And I'm like, that is so weird because I'm like, let's feed the fucking neighborhood. Like,
we want to like have a party. I want everybody to come in.
Doors
I want everybody
always
to feel
open.
welcome. Yeah.
Like I grew, and not everybody has that same thing around space. And I don't have a thing around space. Like I grew up in a family that was like, or my parents worked a lot, and like the neighborhood was just like the neighborhood kids. Like we ran in and out of everybody's house. The door was always open, and so we all like everybody always ate everywhere. And it was kind of felt like, well, where's whose kids? And it's like wherever the bikes are, right? If the bikes are in the front yard, that's where all the kids are, and they're obvious. It's like everybody was always welcome to eat dinner anywhere, and so that's how I feel with this. I'm like, no, please stay. Let's feed you. Let's have you have fun with us.
I love what you do to curate that for everyone, because you can see like, and it's in any situation, right? I'm used to doing this with teams. When people come in, it's like you have your old rivalries, your old colors, your stripes, right? Like whether for us it's your old team, and for this it's your business that's on the business card. And I think by really letting people be human, and lay down some of that, you get a lot deeper connection. And we all know like that's what translates into lifelong relationships and lifelong business, like support systems, whether it's directly like cutting checks, or whether it's you found somebody who could be a mentor or a collaborator or whatever that is. Like that's something that I think you've done a really good job of setting the stage for.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
100%.
Well, thanks so much, you guys, for checking out this episode of Standout by Notorious. If you have not subscribed, I don't know why you haven't subscribed yet, but go ahead and click the subscribe button and go ahead and follow us across all socials at notoriouswmn.com.